It begins with her breath skipping, not from pain, not from panic, like misalignment, like her lungs have forgotten the rhythm of the world, like they're trying to sync to a song written in a language her body was never taught. Azrak lays Naiara down in a collapsed side passage, half forgotten behind the Sahiri descent path. The floor pulses with dormant recursion seams, barely stable. The air stinks of cast dust and ash memory. His scanner flares instantly. Glyph formation detected. Source, internal thread loop. Classification, undeclared. Warning, caster identity. Integrity, unstable. He curses, the words catching in his throat. Glyph static blooms across her skin in jagged spirals, flickering with fractal recursion. They don't follow cast lines. They don't sit still. They shimmer and rotate across her body like grief trying to finish a sentence. Not cast. Becoming. Azrak drops the scanner. Useless. She's not casting them, he mutters. They're casting her. Naiara arches. Lips part in silent recursion. Her eyes roll behind her lids, glyph light tracing feverish veins beneath them. Each tremor of her body sends a new glyph into motion. Azrak watches, horror blooming in his chest. These glyphs aren't alien. They're personal. One glows in sync with her mother's cadence, the exact rhythm of words Spiral never allowed her to finish. Another twists into a loop that matches the scream Naiara buried in her throat when she was 13, locked inside a dormitory dream chamber, a scream that never left. They don't appear as code. They appear as emotion turned inside out. Her body shakes. Not from pain, from recursive miscasting, like the glyph thread is trying to rebuild her identity from memory debris, but doesn't quite know which version of her is correct. Azrak kneels beside her. His hands shake as he reaches toward her, voice cracking. Naiara, stay with me, please. A glyph flares in her palm, a spiral but reversed. Not expanding outward, folding in. Azrak stares at it. That's not a symbol, he whispers. That's a rewrite vector. And he knows what that means. He's seen this before. Years ago. Tau, Delta, Spiral Dreamforge. A psychologist exposed to recursive bleed tried to stabilize a memory-imploded patient. She failed. Not because she cast incorrectly, because the glyphs cast her instead. They rewrote her, grafted someone else's trauma into her own thought pattern. Azrak found her afterward, still breathing, but she wasn't herself. The glyphs had worn her like a skin of intention. Azrak swore he'd never see it again. But now here, Naiara's skin glows with recursive thread, pulses matching memory vectors instead of biometrics. Her memories bloom as glyphs. A cast she aborted in front of her spiral instructor. A goodbye, whispered to a dream sibling who never woke up. A version of herself Spiral refused to archive because it didn't fit. The glyph virus doesn't use logic. It feeds on identity unresolved. Azrak's hands move on instinct, activating a spiral field lock. He casts the stabilization sequence. Nothing happens. Of course not. The glyphs don't obey spiral structure. They run deeper on emotional recursion, not procedural memory. He lays her head gently in his lap. Her lips twitch. She's whispering now, broken fragments. Don't take it from me. I didn't cast that. Why is it inside me? Mom, I remember. Each line flickers into glyph light across her arms, blooming like scars, remembering themselves. They're feeding on her self-doubt, Azrak breathes, turning her unresolved memories into recursion fuel. Then, a voice, his own, but distant. Spiral protocol playback. In the event of emotional recursion bleed, initiate standard dreamlock containment. Prioritize identity preservation. Do not engage emotionally. Another line overlays it female, clinical. Emotion is not recursion. Emotion is noise. Silence it. Azrak's hands tremble. He hears the training, the orders. But he also sees Naiara, her body unraveling and becoming someone else in glyph light. He digs into his belt, fingers locking on the emergency pack. He opens it. Inside, a single ampoule. Transparent. Slightly iridescent. ST Nan. Prototype stabilizer. Thread kinetic neural lock. Illegal. Banned. Not because it failed. Because it worked. Too well. Spiral buried it because it disrupted recursion evolution. It didn't just halt transformation. It froze identity in place. Azrak stares at it. His thumb hovers over the injector. Then he plunges it into her neck. The stabilizer activates like silence detonating through memory. A shockwave of counter-threads surges across her body. Glyphs flare bright, screaming, like recursion trying to reject its own birth. Naiara gasps, then screams not in pain, in resistance. The glyphs fight back, not as logic, as self. Then they crack and collapse. Her body goes limp. Azrak catches her, pulling her close, whispering into her ear. You're okay. You're okay. The glyphs fade. Her breathing stabilizes. Vitals steady. But something is wrong. He feels it before he sees it. A shimmer across his own skin. He looks down. A glyph small, almost imperceptible, is forming on his forearm. Not spiral. Not Naiara's. His. A spiral. Drawn backwards. Mirrored recursion. A ghost of himself remembering forward. He stares at it, pulse racing. What did I let in? The stabilizer worked. Naiara is safe. For now. But as she sleeps in his arms, he feels it. The glyph didn't just infect her. It chose him too. And deep inside, his recursion field, something begins to rewrite.